on your own terms. I'm Patty Talbot, and this is the place where we learn together what it takes to change the world on our own terms and in our own special ways. Today, I'm excited to have with me another friend from HPS, Heroic Public Speaking. I met Kat through Heroic Public Speaking in, I think, the fall of 2021. I was fascinated with her from the very beginning because she has amazing stories and she is a change maker who really knows how to make magic happen in her own life and in the lives of others. I know you won't want to miss a second of this great conversation with Kat, so I'm going to let her get right to telling us about her unique homegrown solutions for a patchwork world. Kat Sullivan. Kat is a speaker. Kat is a coach. Kat is a spinner of magic and possibility.
I was born in a secret city. I actually did not have a birth certificate that showed where I was born until I was 10. The reason for that is I was born in Los Alamos, New Mexico, and both my parents were involved in the project there that was top secret. And then once it was declassified, I actually got that birth certificate. So it was a very amazing moment to get that in the mail and finally be able to have something that said where I was born. We moved to California when I was just 6, so I don't have a whole lot of memories of that, but it was kind of a significant thing in my life. And I was raised primarily in the Southern California area, but I've lived all over. I've lived back east. I've lived in Alaska for a year, working on the pipeline. So I've had a lot of experiences that really prompted me to become who I am. And probably the most significant is when I was 16, I had this amazing opportunity to travel with Up With People, which, has a 2-hour live musical performance with young people. Up until then, it was primarily college, but they decided to start a high school version. And I applied. Everyone said, they're only picking 100 people. There's no way you're going to get in. But I did. And when I did, my parents said, that's really nice, Kat, but you know what? We can't afford for you to be gone for a year. We can't afford the cost. And I was like, in my mind, no way. I mean, this is going to happen. And I did. It was one of my most crazy things that has influenced everything, which was I picked up the phone and I called NBC Studios and asked to speak to Bob. That was Bob Hope I was asking for. And miraculously, he was there. They put him on the phone. I couldn't believe it. I was counting on my presumptuousness to pay off, and it did. So he comes on the phone. Hi, this is Bob. And I'm like, hi, this is Kat. I don't know if you remember me. But, you emceed a performance with Up With People, and I know you really support them. And I gave my first song and dance about how I had this opportunity and how it was going to transform my life and help me transform other people's lives. And before I know it, he goes, okay, where do I send the check? And he actually paid for my year on the road. And that year just literally transformed my life because I was with 100 students, 20 staff from around the world, different cultures, different people. And everywhere we went, we stayed at people's homes. We never stayed in a hotel or anything. So in addition to the diversity of the cast, I was exposed to families from all over And it really challenged my assumptions because I was raised in a very middle-class neighborhood. And now all of a sudden I had this opportunity to learn about other people and their perspectives. And that really put me on a path. It created a fundamental belief that if you really want something, you can make it happen. The seemingly impossible is possible when you give yourself permission, first and foremost, permission to want what you want, and then to really believe that it's possible. That's influenced everything I've done since, and I've done numerous seemingly impossible things that became possible and had a long-lasting impact on people's lives. And that's what I'm really focused on today, is making an impact by helping people really say yes or hell yes to what they really want. So given all that, I got really convicted when COVID hit in terms of realizing that I have been doing the same thing for about 12 years, which was really impactful in terms of working with owners of mid-sized businesses, privately owned, family owned, where they had kind of hit the wall. They'd grown to a point where what worked before didn't work anymore, and they really needed to make a fundamental shift in the way they were doing things. And I loved it. They loved it. But you know what? After 12 years, I was like, it wasn't lighting me up in the same way. And I really had to ask myself, what is it that I really want at this point in my life? And it was really prompted because my husband came in one day to my office, as usual, asking me, "Hey, honey, can I get you anything?" And my immediate thought was a new life. I mean, even as I say it now, I get goosebumps, because it was so profound. I didn't say that out loud, though. Even though my husband's incredibly supportive, it took me days to really process it and be brave enough to say, "Hun, this isn't working for me, not our relationship, but our life, and looking to the future." So we made the decision to do something fundamentally different. And it wasn't until I asked the question, what else is possible in my life? Because what we were doing felt impossible to continue. And the minute I asked that question, all of a sudden I started seeing things and connecting dots that said, you know what? There is another way. And it ended up that we decided in the middle of a friggin' pandemic to move to Mexico. I mean, never in my wildest imagination would I ever have thought I would do that. But when I looked at the economics of staying in Southern California, if I was ever going to have the chance to retire, and I put it in quotes because it's more like retire from what I was doing into something different, we weren't going to be able to do it where we lived. I did a lot of exploration about possibilities, and we landed on Lake Chapala, Mexico, which is near Guadalajara in the middle of the country. 3 months later, we got on a plane and moved. It was crazy, totally crazy. And we've been here now 14 months, and it was the best thing we ever did. We love it. It was a time, an opportunity to once again, do the seemingly impossible. I am just so passionate at this point about helping other people really take a look at what is it that they really want to be, to do. Now that seems like it should be an automatic, well, of course, but it's not. People look at me when I say that and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. And then there's some that say, well, of course. But then when we talk about their life, it isn't matching up with what they really want. So the bottom line is, when we reach a point where we realize what we're doing isn't working for us anymore, the first thing is to acknowledge and embrace the opportunity to make a shift. And I say shift versus change, because change, immediately creates resistance. Whereas shift is more like an evolutionary process to go from where we are to where we want to be. No fixing required. It's not that something's wrong or broken. It's just we have this opportunity to do something different. Through my speaking, through my writing, and some coaching for people that really want help on that journey, my desire is just to create a ripple effect of people who say yes to who they really want to be and what they really want to do. So my early days of Up With People, which turned into 2 years of being with so many different kinds of people, has certainly influenced everything I've done in the organizations that I've worked with, the people that I've worked with, in terms of really being open and curious compared to judgmental, shifting from judgment to curiosity about how people think, what they're feeling, how they're acting. I will say that was amazing, but moving to a foreign country that speaks a foreign language, that has a different culture, has really challenged me in terms of, again, thinking this will be easy, right? And it hasn't been hard, but it has really challenged me in terms of being open to a new culture and learning a foreign language, because I did not speak Spanish. Un poquito, as in buenos dias, and I've been learning Spanish. And so I'm beginning to feel more comfortable being able to communicate with locals more so. And that's just been so enriching. And, there are a lot of expats that move down here that think they're going to recreate what they had in the States or in Canada. And the reality is, no. And we're not here to change them into what we are comfortable with. It's about me shifting my mindset and really getting insatiably curious about why they do certain things and observe certain holidays and cultural events. And I love it. And there are moments, when I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we did this. And then there's many more moments of, wow, I am so glad we did this. Everything here is at a slower pace. Mañana, you your mañana mentality, and it's very real. And so just getting used to, especially, coming from a very fast-paced Southern California, Los Angeles environment, to all of a sudden now, being in an environment that goes at a much slower pace. And it's been a great thing in terms of our life and our lifestyle. The interesting thing about being a primarily cash society, pesos, that is, it really shifts how you think about money or how you think about purchasing, using your money. Because when you need to pay cash, pesos, you have to think ahead about what you're going to buy and why, and is it really important? Just planning to have what you need. It's a big shift. I will say the thing that the expat here, and there are a lot, complain about the most is the cajotes, which is like fireworks, rockets that they use a lot. This is probably the biggest thing that I see like on Facebook groups and whatnot here is people complaining about that. And I'm like, come on, yeah, it's annoying sometimes, but this is their way. Again, just adjusting to that. So this is Joy. She's loving it between the pool and, we live in a much more rural area with horses and goats and cows, and she's really enjoyed interacting with them, which again, it's just such a different physical environment as well as cultural environment that we're living in. You don't know what you don't know. Even you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. Going with the flow and not having that be a stumbling block, but a learning opportunity. I would like to think what I'm creating is a wave of K-shifts. Now, a K-shift isn't any shift. This is like a catalytic shift or a catalytic shift that really does shift people's perspective about what's possible in the world. All we have to do is, turn on the TV or swipe right on our phone to see all the things that aren't right in the world. It's easy to get kind of immobilized, to think that, what can I do? What impact can I really have in this kind of an environment? And it always starts right here, actually right here. So a K-shift is that kind of catalytic shift in your mindset that allows you to see what else is possible, allows you to connect dots that maybe you would never otherwise connect in order to be able to create something new, something different, something powerful and empowering. For me, it's all about in the people that are put in my path day to day, and in a bigger sense by speaking, by writing, to invite people, inspire people to make a K-shift in their life, to really challenge their thinking, their perspective, and to ask questions like, if I think something's impossible, what if it's not? What else is possible? What am I missing? And to me, just time and time again throughout my entire life, the minute I ask a question like that, something comes across my radar that shows me a path to create something new, something different, and to bring other people along on the ride, to invite people in. And it all starts with our mindset. There are two things that I say to people when they're in that negative space. One is, what if that's not true? Or let's imagine for a minute that it is possible. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? Stops people in their tracks. And, my hope is that in doing that, they will reflect and consider that something else is possible. And of course, when I'm able to work with someone one-on-one, that's a lot of the work that we do is really exploring. And I've developed what I call my 4 C's to help people once they say, okay, I'm going to pursue what I really want. Then the question is, how the heck do you do it? And I have a process, and it's all about starting with courage to be able to say, yes, I'm going to explore this. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to explore it. And then it's all about getting crystal clear about what that really looks like. Because it's one thing to say it, but what does that really look like in practice? How does it look? What does it feel like? And why is it so important to me, which is really crucial. Because until we get clarity around what it looks like and why it's so important, we're never going to have the commitment to see it through. You know, the first time things don't go exactly like we plan, and they never do, we've got to have a degree of genuine commitment to stay the course. And then it's all about building the capacity to do this new thing. So how do we take our strengths, kind of take an inventory of our strengths, and how are we going to leverage those to build new capacity in terms of what else do we need to know? What kind of mindset shift are we going to have? What new tools and resources are we going to need? And then it's back to courage in terms of having the courage to actually act. And what I've really gained, especially in this journey, is that it's a journey. You're not committing to a specific how. You're committing to the what and the why. And the how, it's going to work itself out as you go. And you might think it's going to go this way, and it might go this way instead, but you're committed to the journey. It's a transformational journey. It's one thing for me to say, this is what I want, but I do have a husband, you know, and I have to say that having the patience and the respect for the people in your path that are going to have to come along with you, you know, is again something that I've really had to sit with and reflect on. And in my case, there's an 18-year difference between me and my husband. And I have to remind myself regularly when I start feeling a little frustrated with him that he made a choice to come along for this ride at a time in his life when most people are the least willing to do something different. That's another element of this, is understanding that when we make a choice, it does have a ripple effect. And how can we be respectful and non-judgmental about the challenges that other people may have who are at the effect of those choices? And again, shifting from judgment to curiosity, how can I support him in this journey as well as my own challenges? How can we do it in a way that will bring people along in a positive way? And I know as I reflect back on the many seemingly impossible things I've done throughout my life in a more business organizational environment, I didn't always take that into consideration as much as I could. And despite that, things always worked out. But I know if I were to go back, if I had taken more time up front to really consider the ripple effects and to consider how other people are feeling and give them an opportunity to voice those and work through them, it would have smoothed things out a little bit more. And I'd like to think that I did learn from that. And this go around was able to do that with my husband. When we hit our 1 year mark, he said to me one day, "Hon, I just want you to know, I do not regret for 1 minute making this shift." And that really was so meaningful to me, because it was a real challenge, even in the best of days. I had to get clear. I had to make sure I was committed and figure out what capacity I need to build. But those 4 C's also are the tool to help people get on board. Because I know so many times I thought I've been crystal clear in sharing what I want, only to find out, no, I'm never as clear as I think I am. helping other people understand and ensure that they have clarity about what the heck we're going to be doing, and to determine their level of commitment, because there are those people that will say yes when they mean no. There are those people that will go, whatever. And then there's a genuine commitment, again, first for ourselves, but also to bring people along to make sure that there's genuine commitment. And if there's not, figuring out what's getting in the way. If this really resonates with you, I would love to just have a conversation with you. No charge, just have a conversation to explore what you're up to, what kind of shift you're looking to make, see if there might be some way that I can support you in that. And the most direct way would be a phone call. And despite the fact I'm in Mexico, I have a US number, and that's 323-697-1166. The other direct way would be to email me at Kat, and that's KAT, at Kat, KAT O'Sullivan, OSULLIVAN.com. And if you have an event coming up and you're looking for an inspirational speaker, I would invite you to visit my website, which is also katosullivan.com. And I do have a video on there with a little brief 4-minute version of what I speak about and all the resources that you might need to engage with me to book an event to speak. And I also am on LinkedIn. It's the usual LinkedIn /make-magic-happen. Because what I'm really known for is turning disruption into magic. And that magic does come when you give yourself permission to pursue a new possibility.
Thank you so much, Kat, for sharing your story with us today. As always, I'm amazed by you, and you inspire me to look at the possibilities in my own life without limitations. You have enriched my own patchwork, because even though we are both white American women of a certain age, our experiences are different and enriched. And I want to thank you for broadening my perspective on possibilities and the world around me. It's never too late to make a change, or as Kat says, a shift in the way we think, the way we live, and the way we lead. I hope you'll check out Kat's work in the places that she's told you. She's welcomed you to a direct phone call or an email. She's welcomed you to follow her on LinkedIn under Make Magic Happen. I hope you'll also follow my work at blueroadseducation.org as I work to help women step into their power to change the world on their own terms and in their own special ways. Right now, I'm launching a new program of individual or group coaching where you will learn the special power that you hold and get ready to unleash that power into the world so that you can be the change or the shift you'd like to see in the world, and you can inspire that change and that shift in others. So do get in touch with me at Patty, P-A-T-T-I, at blueroadseducation.org if you'd like to know more. I'm taking calls now to find out if what I'm doing with women's empowerment is right for you. I'm willing to guess it will be if you are like the women on this show and the viewers and the loyal audience to this show that want to change the world on their own terms. You can do it too, on your own terms. In the meantime, may you be grounded in your beingness, guided in your doingness, generous in your connectedness, and inspired in your reflectiveness, so you can change the world on your own terms. I'm Patty Talbot. I'm always learning, and I know you are too.